Ciao friends, my name is Joey. I'm so glad you're here because look what I got. My design challenge kit from Softflex Company is here, and this is for the month of February, and it is so gorgeous. In this kit, you really get everything that you need to make jewelry. I always pull in a few little things from my stash, but what I love about this kit not only is that they do a great job at Softflex Company of putting this together, but they also partner with Jessie James Beads, so you always get a fabulous Jessie James Beads bead mix. But the bacon, you know, the butter and eggs and milk of the kitchen, the staples, you get that in this kit too. So we got a spool of Softflex beading wire, my favorite, the 49 strand, and it's in this beautiful purple amethyst. The best crimp tubes on the market, in my opinion, are their number 2 crimp tubes. If you are having any issues using the magical crimping plier, these will set you up for success, but you can use them with all your crimping methods. You can flat crimp them, you can do the typical fold over method, you know, so I love getting those things. But we also get like a little findings, and I have to like digress a little bit. Last month when I got their kit, I started designing just from the velvet ribbon that they tied the package with. So like from the packing, they do such an amazing job, and the same thing has happened to me again this month. So I've already added some cord ends. The whole package was tied with this beautiful kind of a rainbow or tie-dye satin cord, and this is one of my favorite cords to make bookmarkers out of, and I actually did one last month with the velvet ribbon that was tying the package, but I'm actually going to use this for a bookmarker, add it into my bracelet, and I made a pair of earrings already, and I'll show you what I did. But look how beautiful the colors of that is. It's one of my favorite things to make. So like my bookmark is already done. What I did with it is it's like tie-dye, so it kind of fades into like ombres into the different colors. So I sorted through, and this piece is going to be for my bracelet design. This is the colors that I wanted for my bookmarker, going from pink to purple to turquoise. So those are done and the cord ends are on. And let me show you the earrings that I did with the cord. Like I started designing and making from the minute I untied the package. Look how cute these are. I just have a little trick for getting both of the cord ends into this finding. This is like a leather end cap, and you can just glue it, or you can put a little glue and crimp this middle section, or just crimp the middle section. And depending on what my material is, I do a mix of the three. But that is my cute little pair of earrings already done. Like, you know, a kit is good when you start designing from what they tied the package with, right? Like, it doesn't get any better than that. And so in our little findings pack, we got a lobster claw clasp. We got a couple sets of ear wires that are silver plated. That's my little jump ring that I added in, and look at the pretty little rainbow charms. Those are so sweet. And so we also got this Jessie James bead mix, and I literally have not looked through this. I was waiting to do it with you. It's called Double Rainbow. So I feel like I need to look through this little bead mix a bit. Let me get a dish so that, and let me take these out and I'll just use this dish. Get a dish so that I can kind of look at what's in here. So I already see these. There's a couple of these red crystals, but this is what I spotted. Look at these gorgeous little top drilled teardrop lavender faceted crystals. They're two-sided. Oh my, I have to set those out here. That is gorgeous. I love those. And then I also see some larger crystals, and look, these have the AB finish on them, and they have a little bit larger hole. I love those. I'm going to leave those out of the mix too. I see some blue faceted crystals in here. These little acrylic beads are so sweet. These little like striped rainbow colored little acrylic beads. How cute are they? So sweet. And then I love these guys. There's a couple of these in here. They're like a glass nugget bead. So beautiful. And I love cylindrical beads, and these are cool. These are in a sagey, very neutral green. Look how pretty those are. Ooh, I love those. I'm going to set like my favorites out here so they don't get lost in the bead mix. And then I love these little yellow crystals. Some little yellow ones. And oh, there's two of these little, they're like cameo shaped ovals, faceted on both sides. They have a nice dimension. Those are pretty. There's another blue crystal. Oh, there's marguerites in here. Oh, I love marguerites. These are so beautiful. They're like little faceted flowers and the hole is in the center. What I love to do with these is just use a large jump ring and put it right through the hole, but you can also string them. Oh, I have to put those out here. Let's see if there's more. Another teardrop. Oh, look at this. It's a glass AB and the drill hole. Let me get a little piece of wire so I can get my fingers out of the way. Look at that. That is so beautiful. I love those. And let's see what else is in here. A lot of silver findings, beautiful bead caps, some little disco balls. These have a little ring of crystals around the middle of the silver. They're so pretty. And some little tiny bead caps. Those are sweet. Some crystal rondelle spacers. I love those. I'm going to set those out here because I'm probably going to want those for my project. There's a couple more of the red ones. There's another marguerite. That's what I was really looking for. And oh, these are beautiful too. Just some frosted white glass 6mm beads. Those are so wonderful in design. And what else is in here? Some turquoise bicones. What a fabulous bead mix. Nobody does a bead mix like Jessie James Beads. And when they partner with Soft Flex, you just can't beat it. I mean, it's just so great. I want these disc spacers too, because I am going to need those for my project. And I'll show you, I have a little dish here that I just pulled some disc spacers and some daisy spacers and a few things from my stash, but I want those disc spacers. So let me make a little space, set my crimp tubes over here. And we looked at all of that, so that dish can go there and my little add-in supplies, and we are ready to go. And then just have a look at this gorgeous mix. These are all little faceted crystal rainbow colored beads. I love those. Those will definitely be used in my project. One of my bead caps is trying to escape. And these are gorgeous. This is a 4mm crystal Maria druck bead. A druck is a smooth, round check glass bead. It doesn't have any fluting or any table cutting or anything. Those are absolutely gorgeous, and this is so pretty. This is one of my favorite beads, and I just love getting the 6mm size is the really sweet size for me, but I love the AB finish on this. This like goes with anything. You can add a little sparkle to, you know, clay beads or anything, but you can also put it with pearls and like really dress it up. Like this is a bead that we all need a million of them in our supplies. And then I love getting these. They're listing these, I think, as a spacer bead, but these are polymer clay disc beads or heishi beads. And I'm going to be doing something really cool with these. I'm going to make some components with these beads. I just love them. They look fabulous with everything. I've already made a mess on my mat because this kit is so good. And then you guys, this is my favorite thing in the whole box. I am dying over this little Peruvian bead. This is a teeny tiny little hot air balloon, but it is so detailed. Oh my goodness. I am not going to use this in my projects today because I think I have to hoard this for a little bit. I love it too much. And I want to do something with it. I want to do something with it that is really where it's really featured. I might add it to my bookmarker because that way when it's in my book, I could actually see it. I might actually add it to my book. Maybe I'm not going to hoard it, but maybe I am going to keep it for myself. But I just love this little bead. That is so, I mean, it is so gorgeous, really. I don't want to put it down. Okay, I'm going to leave that little beauty. Let me just set it aside and let's get going on today's project. Did I miss anything? The bead mixes, I think I got everything. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you this funky little trick because truly I have a cord end here And truly, the cord end really just one fits in this crimpable. I think this is actually made for leather. Let me get a pair of scissors. I just folded this one in half. So really just one end of this satin cord should go in there, but I am stubborn. When I want to make something happen, I figure out how to make it happen. So I've already done this end, and as you can see, I got two cords in this end, and it's really not supposed to go, but I'm going to show you what I did. I took the first cord and put it inside, and as you can see, like, that's really the perfect fit. I'm going to push it up a little bit, and then I want to get this one in here, so you can give yourself an angled cut, but what I did is used a little piece of wire. Where did it go? Right here. I used a little piece of wire, and little by little I pushed it in. So it is a little tricky, I will not lie, but I wanted two cords in this end finding. So that is what I did. I did it on my bookmarker. I did it on my earrings. I made it work. One of the things that I did, because the end of this will fray as you push on it, I took my really sharp scissors and gave this an angled cut, and that helps you to get it started and then push it the rest of the way in. So let me get this in there. You can also put a little bit of glue if you want to, but since I'm holding on to this and pushing it, I do use my gel Loctite super glue for, like, I did put a little dab on the ends for my bookmarker, and I did put a little dab on for my earrings, so it is glued in there, even though earrings don't get much stress. But I'm gonna, like, push this cord in here with this little piece of wire and just you know, just make it go, pretty much. Once you have it in, you can give it like a little twist and a push to really make sure it's in there. And honestly, if I had another, like if I had the size up in this cord end or any cord end, I would have used that, but this is what I had and this is what I want to do. So I'm pretty stubborn about my about when I want something to work. There's a little bit of fraying where I pushed it folded back, so I'm just going to clean that up so it looks nice. And when I'm all done, I probably will, like on my other ones, I put a little drop of glue up there, and you can even separate and put a little drop of glue in there, but it's in there really nice and firm. And then I am going to crimp this end. You have to be careful with this because or maybe it's just the batch of these that I got, but I go a little at a time. Your chain nose pliers fit right in the middle section of these, but you can snap these right in half. They are tricky to crimp, and I have ruined a couple of them. So I just go front to back, and I'm just really careful about my pressure, and I'm just getting it to grab on to the cord. And like I said, if you don't even want to bother with this, if you just want to glue it on, you can totally do that. Okay, that is done. And so this is my plan for this little strand of my bracelet. Let me just make a little space here. I have a project tray sitting off to the side, so I'm going to just clean up a little bit. And so I had this little ring from my stash, and it says Joy. I do not know where I got this. It's been in my bead supplies for years, but any ring, even a large, like nice gauge jump ring will work for this, and we are going to need some jump rings. So I have my little jump ring assortment here. Let me take a few of these out. That bigger one is going to be for my clasp. I can always come back and get some more if I need it. And so on my first strand, I'm going to be using this this double cord here, and I'm going to do, in fact, for my length, I guess I'll do this first. I'm debating for my length because this is a little bit bigger of a bracelet length than what I actually need. So I'm going to do a knot. I'm going to knot these two together. And the reason I'm doing this is I have this little bail that slides on and I want it to stay in the middle. So I'm going to knot on either side of this bail, and that should bring my bracelet length down to what I need it to do. So I'm just going to do a knot, and that's going to just hold that little bail in place. Just work it down so that it's snuggled on either side of that bail. And on this satin cord, I probably, well, I don't know, I was going to say I probably will shoot some glue inside the knot, like some beater's glue, but I don't know, it feels pretty secure. I might, when I get all finished and I put my anti-tarnish coating on a piece, then I assess those things. So that should be perfect once I add it to my ring here. So we can go ahead and add this in, and that's going to help to guide the rest of the project. So this is a multi-strand bracelet, if I didn't say. Like I said, I got so excited about this piece, all the pieces, just from unboxing this, that I started designing right away. And, you know, then I'm like, okay, I don't even want to do an unboxing. I just want to make. So I'm just going to close that really well. And so my first strand is on my bracelet, and I think once I add my clasp, I can even make a component for the end of that. And then I'm going to cut this open and make some really cool components out of this. So let me get this open. It has been a few years since I did this type of a design where I made components. I am going to be using, let me show you my spool, my Softflex 20 gauge wire. It has an anti-tarnish coating, and I'm going to be using the silver. And so what I'll do is make all my loops, because this is going to be a beaded chain of sorts. And so I'm going to use my medium size, the 2¼ millimeter one-step looper, and just put some simple loops in here. And I'm doing the 2¼ millimeter because I'm not going to connect with jump rings. I'm just going to connect loop to loop. And I'm just going to make a cool little component with ESSIE beads, a little disc spacer, and those crystals from the mix. So let's see, 4, let me try 5. And then I love these little disc spacers. They are perfection. And then just maybe just pick up these crystals at random. I'm going to flank that with a disc, and then I want 5 more ESSIE beads. 3, 4, 5. So I have a cute little component, and now I'm going to put a simple loop in the other end, just like that. And so when I have to make a beaded chain with this tool, I don't put it down. I just keep it in my hand. My loops, I do like to put my pliers to everything and work hard in my loops, but that is my little component. And I am going to sit here and do enough for the second strand on this multi-strand bracelet. So same thing, I'm going to choose 3, 4, 5 of these little discs, and then a spacer and a crystal, and same thing, just repeat until I have enough components. Okay, all my components are made, and while I was at it, I went ahead and made some components, which is what happens to me when I'm sitting and designing. I love stacking the beads and just making all the little, bead stations and the bead patterns. It's so relaxing and calming. It's like a therapy for me. And so since I used every single one of the little disc spacers that was in the bead mix, I had to pull a few from my stash, and I've just alternated like my daisy ones with these smooth ones, and then I took a couple of the components with the smooth discs and put them over here for my bookmarker, and then I just stacked a few beads with simple loops, and I'm going to have these little charms hanging off the end of this bookmarker. So like while I was doing that project, I'm looking at everything, and that project just unfolded. So the next step, I have a piece of the purple bead stringing wire out here, the purple amethyst. Before I start stringing my third strand for the bracelet, I'm just going to connect all of these little components that I made. So let me just start on this end, and you can, if you want to adjust your length, you can do these with jump rings, but I used the medium size, the 2¼ millimeter one-step looper, because it gives you a little bit more large, a little bit larger space in the loop. So when you're making a chain like that, it's very fluid because it's a large loop. So that's what I did, and I'm just going to connect all of these little guys. And at the same time, if you notice what I'm doing, I check to make sure that all of my loops are closed really well, and with a little bit of force, I'll work harden with my pliers just by opening and closing on the wire, and just like get in there, whatever I have to do to make sure that everything is closed. I'm a fuss with my jewelry. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I like to put my pliers to every single loop, every wrap. I just it adds a little strength, and everything's closed well, and it makes my work neat, and it makes me happy because it's the work of my hands. So the other thing on this bracelet, it's 3 strands, and I'm using 3 different stringing methods, and so how they're going to end up to get the same length is going to happen with jump rings. That's why I have so many extras out here. Although 5 bead components is pretty perfect for this here. Looks like that part's going to be great. So let me open this and add it in, and we'll have a look before we start stringing. Close that really well. Oh, that is so pretty. So like I said, with 3 different strands, if these don't end up exactly where I want them, I'll just add an extra jump ring. So jump rings can really help you get your length right when you're doing multi-strand and all the 3 strands are not the same. So let's start out with a number 2 crimp tube from our kit, and I'm going to put a loop on this end. One of the things I love about the Soft Flex wire is all the pretty colors that it comes in. So if you want to, you can do French wire on your loop. You can load it with seed beads. You can finish off. You can do wire guardian. But for me, I usually just let the Soft Flex wire show because it's so pretty. It becomes part of the design. So I'm just going to make a little loop there and make sure that that tube is really centered. I can actually feel it. There is a little learning curve with this tool, but I can actually feel that I am right in the center. So now I'm going to close, and when I remove the plier, I've made a square out of that tube. The 4 corners are pinched, and this is where people mangle their crimp tube You have to go in the opposite direction, but you also have to feel, like I can feel that it is right in the center of that divot. And if you're not right in the center, when you close down, you will just mangle your crimp tube instead of making a bead out of it. But I could feel that I'm right in the center, and now I'm just going to rotate and open and close the pliers just a few times. And when I take it away, it's a little tiny silver bead. I love that plier, but there is a little learning curve. But once you get the feel of it, then you get them right all the time. So if you're having trouble with that, don't give up on it. Okay, so I am just going to create a little pattern here. I'm going to start with a crystal, and I'm going to basically do all the elements that are in my other pieces. So like a crystal, what did I do over here? Yeah, I'm gonna basically, let me take some spacer beads out. Maybe I'll switch it up this time and I did 5 of the ESSIE disc spacers, so maybe I'll reverse it on this strand, and put it right up next to the crystal like that, and then do a spacer bead. And I think I'm just going to let the crystals be random. This is so much fun, you guys. I mean, so much fun. I'm going to do another spacer bead here. That is so gorgeous. Okay, another 5 of these disc beads. And so I'm just going to string like this until I have my desired length. And just to give you an idea, look how pretty that is going to be. And then I have to decide on a charm here. I was playing with if I want to put the little rainbow charm or if I want to do a little wire wrapped bead loop. So I am going to string, and I will be back to show you what this finished length looks like. Okay, I am ready to crimp the other end and connect everything. So this bead pattern looks like this. I just alternated all the elements that I've used in everything else and just played until I was happy. And it is just, it has sparkle, it has like different textures. I love stacking disc beads anyway. The ESSIE beads are one of my favorites, and it's been probably 2 summers since I did a project with these, so I'm so thrilled to be playing with them again. So I just put my crimp tube and my jump ring on and fed that wire down through a few beads. And I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. I want to make sure that there's a little space. I don't want a rigid bracelet. Okay, that side is done, and I'm going to trim away and connect. This is the most exciting part. The stringing is done, everything's done. Just trim this. Okay, get in there. There we go. And I save my little pieces of soft flex wire. I have another video where I show what you can do with these little scraps, but you can make beaded rings and then it's a component and do all sorts of things. So I'm just gonna reach behind me. I have a little plastic bag clipped to the back of my work cart, and when I get those scraps, I put them in there. Okay, we are ready to connect everything. So I'm going to come with some jump rings and just add everything in. I guess I can go ahead and close this large jump ring. And like I said, I'm going to make my length adjustments with my jump rings. And my lobster claw clasp is going to go on this end and clasp into this really big ring. So hopefully that's going to make this bracelet easy to take on and off. So this is just simple connecting. Open the jump rings. This ring is a little bit wide, so it's a little challenge to open the jump ring a little bit bigger. But like I said, you could use any kind of a solid ring here if you like this project. I just have had this in my stash, and I think it's a craft store item. And I thought it was really cute that it said joy, since, you know, these are the most joyful colors. I am doing my cord piece on the outside so that my charm will show up really nice there and not get kind of tangled up in my stringing. So I'm going to start with one jump ring on each and see how it looks. That is actually pretty good as far as my length. I'm going to add my lobster claw clasp on this side, and here again you can add extra jump rings on a design just like this. If you're doing this project, you can add 1 or 2 to adjust the length of the bracelet without like changing your stringing. So I'm going to start by doing it this way and check and see how it clasps. But like I say, you can actually add your lobster claw with 2 or 3 jump rings. You can make that adjustment. But it looks like it is pretty good actually. But yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's about a 7-inch bracelet, which works perfectly for me. And then I think I really like this little charm. The only thing I don't like about it is it's gold. I know you'll never hear me say that. I did do this entire piece in silver, but the gold does look good with the oranges and yellows. So let's go with that. I also thought about taking like a beaded component and hanging that from here. I actually like that better. Let's make a quick beaded component for that. Let me get a head pin like what I have been using. That is so pretty. I'm just going to do a little simple loop here with my pliers. Okay, and I'm going to take another jump ring and just add it with a jump ring right here. How pretty is that? Oh my goodness, this is so gorgeous. I'm just going to bring this around and see what it looks like. Oh, look at that, you guys. It's so pretty. The little ring says joy, and look at all the colors and the little charm hanging here. That is stunning. Okay, before I end this video, I'm going to do this last little component with you. Let me clean up my mess a little bit here. Okay, so as you can see, I have already made all the components for my bookmarker, and we can go ahead and attach those as well. They are all, I can just attach, it's a bookmarker, so I can just attach these right to my cord ends. You can also do a bookmarker with jump rings as well. And I'm just going to put, so I have to wrap this little guy for the bottom drop here, and I have something kind of special for the drop on the other side. It was a gift to me from Jessie James Beads. They did a little something for all the designers that work for them last year, at the end of last year, and I was so excited when I saw my gift, and I've had it laying on the edge of my work table for the last probably 2 months, just waiting for the right thing to do with it. So I did put a jump ring through one of the marguerites, but Jessie James Beads sent me these little puffy initials, JB, and I just love them. And I'm going to use some jump rings and just make a little chain. But first I need to do a little component out of my hot air balloon. So I'm going to continue with what I have been doing. Just put a simple loop in one side. Get this piece of wire nice and warm and straight. And I'm going to use this one of these little small bead caps from the mix just to top off the hot air balloon. So if you have been here before on my channel, I'm sure you have heard me say that I have an entire playlist just for the different ways that I make bookmarks. And last month I did the velvet one with the teeth ends on my bookmark, and I've done beaded ones. I do them out of wire. I do the commercially made beautiful like bookmark hooks, but this satin cord is one of my favorite ways. That's how I actually started making them. So I can link my bookmark playlist if you're interested in how the different ideas. I even have one that's elastic cord that wraps around your book and pages wherever you're at, and I really love that one. It's one of my favorite ones if I travel, because then it's compact. But these are so great as gifts, because as I'm about to do is personalize it with an initial charm, the person's favorite color. You can do them themed. So like this one is, got the hot air balloon, but if the person is a tea drinker, you can do little teacup charms and that kind of thing. So they are really fun to make. You can also make them masculine, feminine, more juvenile for kids. It's one of my favorite things to make, and I just couldn't help myself but doing another bookmarker this time. So what I'm going to do is add some jump rings here at the bottom of the hot air balloon, and I am going to put my J right there. And then I'm going to sort of create a little chain, but you could also use a scrap of of chain if you had to cut chain away from something. So, but I'm going to link these jump rings to kind of make it look like a chain, and then I'm going to hang my marguerite and my little B for my last name, my long Italian last name. When I'm in Italy and I say my name, if I say sono Joey Balestrieri, everybody knows exactly how to spell my name without, me having any kind of explanation. But in America, that doesn't happen. It's 13 letters, long Italian last name. A total of 5 jump rings here to make this look like a little chain. I don't know, I like to work in odd numbers. I'm just going to put that on and close it, and then I am going to add my marguerite kind of in the middle of my initials. So my JB will hang from my bookmarker like that beneath that little hot air balloon. The second to the last jump ring to add my little marguerite. So it kind of will hang in between my 2 initials. So like I say, if you have gifts to make, you can personalize these. And if you're doing this for men, instead of the satin cord, you can do leather cord. That looks so pretty if a man likes to read novels, or if he does crossword puzzles, to have a pretty like dark burgundy or brown saddle color leather for his bookmark. And of course you wouldn't do it all sparkly, but they're just so great for that. And so what I'm going to do is a little wire wrapped loop. I'm just going to use the last scrap of wire that I cut off my spool, and I like to make sure that my wire is warm and straight. I warm it between my fingers before I do anything with it, and I do want to be super careful not to break this little point off of this teardrop. So I'm going to gently pull these up, and I'm going to draw them together, but kind of far away from the top of that bead, just like that. And I am going to snip away this shorter wire right about where the 2 meet. And now I'm going to do a normal wire wrapped loop here. So I'm just going to get a hold of that right at the top and give it a 90-degree bend. And I'm going to wrap this loop, and I will wrap down over the wire that I just cut, and I may even just use it up. Sometimes it looks really pretty on this kind of a briolette wrap to wrap right down to the top of the bead. So you can see my little cut wire is hanging out there, so I just have to make sure that I encompass that cut end in my wraps as I go down. I like to do really neat wraps, one coil or wrap laying exactly beneath the previous one. I'm going to tighten this up before I continue wrapping. But if you like the look of messy wraps where they're just sort of random, that, you know, is another look. It's not really my style, but it's totally another look. And I love this where I kind of wrap down over that wire like that, and I'm going to just come in and just give everything a little smush. I like to tighten, since I do like the neat look, I like to just tighten everything up. Okay, I'm going to trim this right here where it will not be sharp, and tuck it in. Even on my book jewelry, I don't want anything sharp. So I have a little, almost like a jewelry box, a little box with a magnetic closure, and it contains all my book markers. And so it's one of the things I love to make, and it's one of the things I love to do with my bead boxes and kits. And when I start a new book, when I start a novel, or when I get a new word search book, I love to go in that little box and choose a book marker. So let's see if I want to do this with a jump ring. And I think I'll just attach it like I have been, just open this last simple loop and add that right there and close it really well. And oh my gosh, look at this stunning bookmarker. It's so pretty. I love that so much. I love my bracelet. I think these earrings are adorable as you go into spring and summer. Like, oh my goodness, couldn't you see this with like a tie-dye shirt and some jeans and, you know, just some cute little sandals? I just love it. So Soft Flex Company always outdoes themselves. They did a fabulous job with this month's design challenge kit, and I got these gorgeous 3 projects out of it. And so I will put links to Soft Flex Company in the description box, and my crimpable cord ends and anything else that I pulled from my stash that I know where I got it will always be in the description box. And I always put links to my favorite tools. I know there's a lot of newer people to jewelry making and you're still collecting your tools, so that information will be there in case you're interested in anything you've seen me work with. And I hope everybody is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. See you in the next video.